All right, good evening, everybody. It is Monday. I'm David Paul, KHOU Weather Center. This is an update on what is just about to be landfalling Tropical Storm Nicholas. I say Tropical Storm Nicholas. Nicholas has strengthened as of the 7 o'clock advisory to a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm. There are the maximum sustained winds at 70. You get to 74 and you've got a Cat 1 hurricane. So we're borderline Cat 1 hurricane with Nicholas right now, sitting just a few miles south of Matagorda Bay. This is going to be making landfall here in the next several hours. Good news, it continues to move north-northeast at a pretty good clip. It's moving at 12 miles an hour. We do not see that forward speed slowing down or stopping. That's great news. So it's not going to stop as it makes its trek across southeast Texas tonight. That does reduce the flood threat at least a little bit. Pressure's dropped significantly. Just a few hours ago, we were at 1,000 millibars. Now we're at 988 millibars. So that's a 12 millibar drop in 3 hours. So it's trying to rapidly intensify, but it's about to run out of warm water and about to meet real estate, and that'll be the end of its strengthening phase as it loses its energy source, which is the warm water of the Gulf of Mexico. If you're tracking it at home, 28.1 north, 96.2 west is the current location of what is tropical storm, almost Cat 1 hurricane Nicholas. Here's the radar. So those winds, the strongest winds, are located in the northern and eastern eye wall, which is right here. That's where you've got those winds sustained at 70 miles an hour. It's not the entire rain shield. In fact, the winds drop off to tropical storm force pretty quickly as you move further away from that. But tropical storm force winds do extend out away from the center about 120 miles or so. So it's a very large tropical storm wind field. And all of that is going to be transposed up into southeast Texas. So we are looking at tropical storm warnings that extend all the way up across the 59 corridor. Harris County, Liberty County, Fort Bend County, you're included in tropical storm warnings tonight, not just the coastal counties, because we expect wind gusts 2 or above tropical storm force. Latest forecast track from the Hurricane Center. So this is the 7 o'clock advisory. So this is an update on intensity, movement, and position. It's not an updated forecast cone. We'll get that at 10 o'clock. But as of 7 o'clock, again, up from 65 mile an hour to a 70 mile tropical storm, moving north-northeast at 12. That has not changed. Forecast track continues to move this on through pretty quickly tonight and tomorrow. Doesn't stall us on it. That's real good. Closer view, we expect the storm to make landfall at approximately midnight, maybe a little before, maybe a little after, near Palacios, southern Matagorda County over Matagorda Bay. Bay City having wind gusts reported into the 60 mile an hour range. So they're getting close to gusts up towards 70 miles an hour in Bay City and Palacios right now. And the center of the storm isn't quite there yet. And then the track continues northeast. And by the time we get to noon, the center of what will be rapidly weakening Tropical Storm Nicholas is sitting perhaps right over the center of downtown Houston. That's a very unusual event to see a tropical system center pass right over such a major metropolitan area, but that is the forecast as it stands right now. That'll be at noon on Tuesday. But that is a time frame to pay attention to, because that would mean that by noon tomorrow, if the center's here, all the bad stuff is pushing off to the east and northeast and exiting the bulk of southeast Texas by noon tomorrow. So our window of opportunity for flash flooding is beginning to shrink as the storm is forecast to continue to move through and not slow down on us. That is very good news. So this is the broad brushed potential for rainfall tonight through midday tomorrow. 1 to 3 as you get into the northwest counties, 3 to 6 across the 59 corridor, and closer to the coast, the rain totals would be greater. Perhaps some isolated spots picking up 6 to 10. But that is down from earlier estimates that at one point exceeded 20 inches at times. So that's an improvement. Now, I don't want to see anybody get 10 inches of rain tonight, but it is possible. All that being said, this is the broad brush. So what I've done is I've run one of our higher resolution models, and this is the GFS, and this is its latest run. Now, computer models, it's difficult to pinpoint. They try to pinpoint where the heaviest rain totals are going to be, but they can't do it. They're not perfect. It's a computer model. It's not reality. However, it does give us guidance. And what the latest modeling is suggesting is that maybe we see a bullseye in a couple of spots, maybe 1 or 2 spots that get 5 to 5.5 inches of rain. and that's it. And we could handle something like that tonight. Remember, we're going into this very dry. So that would be a great outcome. 3.5 inches at Bush, we can handle that. Katy, 3.5, we got that. Tomball, 2 to 3 inches of rain. That would not be a problem on the area watersheds. If we start getting up into the 7-8 inch range, we would start having problems on some watersheds. And again, as I showed this to you, I know this has a bullseye right near Sugar Land, Missouri City. Don't take that literally. This is a suggestion. It's guidance. It's saying somewhere here in southeast Texas, especially along or south of 59, we could see a spot or two that could see 5 to 6 inches of rain, not necessarily right there. So don't get overly concerned, Sugar Land, Missouri City. And then as we head into even 1 p.m. Tuesday, it stops the rain totals here and puts it all in Louisiana. So then southwest Louisiana, you would begin to have your heavier rainfall threat. I want to make one more point about the rain and what we're not seeing. And let me show you what we are not seeing on the radar. We saw a little bit earlier. See the lightning? We saw lightning earlier in that rain band, and the lightning just went away. So lightning is important to track because that indicates convection, up and down motion through the vertical column. When you see lightning, that's when you get concerned that you're going to get blinding rainfall rates in a tropical air mass like this, rainfall rates of 4, 5, 6 inches per hour possible. That's where your flash flooding will occur with that lightning and thunder. But over the last couple of hours, we just aren't seeing any lightning out there. We don't have a whole lot of convection up and down. Now we have a shield of moderate rain out here. And you can see we've got this shield of light to moderate rain across the inland half of southeast Texas from 59 down to the coast. We've got that widespread light to moderate rain. But that's not the type of rain that's going to cause significant flash flooding. We've got to get one of these heavy rain bands in here with lightning and thunder, with convection, to really ramp up the flash flooding threat. But at least for the moment, we're not seeing a whole lot of that offshore, and we're not seeing any lightning inland. Now, the reason we're not seeing that is because we didn't get hot today. When Hurricane Harvey came in and flooded us, that day we had gone to 92. Some areas had gone to 95 in southeast Texas, and then it was in the evening that the rain bands moved in and they fed off that heat energy. That's what magnified all the convection the first night of Harvey that flooded us so terribly. But we didn't get into the 90s today. We were in the 70s. So we've got a tremendously less amount of energy than we did with Harvey. That's wonderful. Same thing with Allison. If you remember Allison in 01, that afternoon we had highs in the upper 90s to near 100. And then the storm came in at night and fed off that heat energy. We don't have that heat energy with us today. So we have a lower amount of energy, and I'm optimistic, I'm cautiously optimistic that it's going to reduce our flash flooding threat, hopefully significantly reduce it. But clearly with any landfalling tropical system, you've got to pay attention to the flash flooding threat. We'll just go through this again. Once again, we expect it to make landfall Matagorda Bay, Palacios near midnight. Decaying, weakening tropical storm over downtown Houston by noon, and then after that, our conditions are going to improve markedly. The broad brush rain total forecast, 3 to 6 interior southeast Texas, 6 to 10 near the coast. But the latest higher resolution model, this is the latest GFS, suggests not quite as bad as the broad brushed forecast for rain totals have been suggesting. At this moment, we'll take any little piece of good news we can get. A closer view of the forecast. This is a blend of the GFS and the high resolution rapid refresh, but they match up real nicely. So this is midnight tonight. Heavier rain along our coastal counties of Galveston, Brazoria, and Matagorda as the system makes landfall. We go into 5 a.m., the center of the circulation reaching near Sugar Land. But as we've taught, you've got the motion. Look to the right-hand side to motion. That's the dirty side. All the heavy rain on the dirty side, the right-hand side of the storm. So in this case, it's suggesting near the coast. So Galveston, your flood threat is higher, and the further you get inland, the lower it appears to be going. We head toward noon, and on this latest run, even before noon, the heavy rain is pushing into far east Texas and Louisiana. And we're starting a drying out process before noon. So that would be a very optimistic and best case scenario outcome for us overnight tonight. We head further out in time into tomorrow evening, the circulation weakening further over toward Beaumont, heavy rain threat, Lake Charles, Calcasieu Parish, Cameron Parish. Then Lake Charles, our neighbors to the east, would have a threat for flash flooding from what's left of Nicholas. Let's look at the wind forecast. So this is going into midnight tonight. This begins at midnight. The circulation making landfall. This is a wind gust forecast. So this is like the worst case potential winds you could have tonight for a moment, for gusts. Perhaps a gust of 45 at Hobby, KD 47. This is at midnight, gust to 50 in Sugar Land. It's been my experience for years that once you get gusts to 45, it's like we'll have no power outages, but the moment you tip past a gust of 45, you start getting reports of scattered power outages. So that's kind of the magic number here in Southeast Texas. So it's possible we could begin to see some inland power outages in spots going into midnight tonight. We go into 3:30 a.m. This is Tuesday morning. Gust to 60 in Galveston, power outage threat. Gust to 60 near Hobby, possible. Gust to 53 Katy, gust into the 40s up toward Conroe, Mont Bellevue, gust to 51. So that's in that area where we'll see scattered power outages. These gusts will usually only come if you get a rain band coming through. So I'm a little tentative because we see these potential gusts of 43 and 46 Tomball Conroe. If you don't get a rain band coming through, you may not get gusts like that at all. You need that rain, that downward motion of the atmosphere to pull the winds that are just above the surface. They're stronger down to the surface to give us those gusts, those puffs of wind. But if we don't get rain transporting that down to the surface, we wouldn't get these stronger gusts. So these gusts would occur in the rain, in rain bands. Okay, so that was the 7 o'clock advisory, the intermediate advisory. The next advisory comes out at 10 o'clock. So that will be an updated forecast track, updated winds. If this does get to a hurricane, if we get winds to 74 miles an hour before it makes landfall, we'll break in and let you know about it. I think it's a possibility, but otherwise, cautiously optimistic that things may not be quite so bad as some of the models have been forecasting and suggesting over the past several days. Regardless, we're crossing our fingers and everybody's doing the right thing to just stay home, stay put, stay off the roads. It's a mess out there, and let this blow through before we get back out and get back to our normal life. Live update on the TV side, complete update at 10 o'clock, KHOU 11 News at 10. We will see you then.